I'm gonna invite on stage Thet Oo. Welcome, please a round of applause from Thet. How are we going? Are we good? Are you feeling good? Perfect. I hope you get lots of insights. So Thet, I would like you to say a few words just before I set your presentation on behalf of Helvar to welcome everyone.
Thank you, Katja, and have to follow up from Kate now and all the kind of bad lighting control examples. In the industry, that box is called Pandora's box, so that's what we supply as default. Believe it or not, our best-selling light switch says 1 to 5 and off, and up and down. So you think about what kind of user experience that gives for the lecturer or the student. It's if you're opening Pandora's box, that's like Russian roulette, like lighting control roulette you're going to play with 1 to 5 and off. We good? So yeah, thank you everyone. I've got a very kind of bland title for my session, but it gets a bit more exciting, I promise. I want to start off with a question, and it's not mine. I have stolen it from a talk that I was in. So, and apologies for the kind of condescending nature of the question, but I was at the Education and Sustainability Conference at the Excel a couple of months ago, and one of the talks I was in started off with this question. Actually, it was hosted by an asset manager, and I thought it was going to be, a bit mediocre, a little bit boring. No asset managers here, right? So I'm okay. But actually, it turned out to be really kind of meaningful. What the asset manager said was, hey, you're managing the assets in your universities and your schools incorrectly. You should be not thinking about the monetary value of your lighting control system or your printers or your servers. You should be thinking about what the purpose of the space is actually there to do. Right? Is it there for collaboration? What type of people are going to be using it? This is how you should value your assets. This is how you should value your space. And that's turn that talk from kind of a mediocre discussion to quite a deep discussion. Lots of questions, lots of thought-provoking things, and the question there is valuable. I think, what is the quality of light? How valuable is the quality of light? How valuable is a really good user experience? How valuable is automation that you just don't think about? And for an education space, I think it's massive, right? So without good lighting, without good quality, without good user experience, you can't teach. So you can't have lectures, you won't be productive, you won't be comfortable, people will get tired more. So I think the value of lighting and lighting control and the quality of that plays a massive part to the purpose of the space. I think we get a little bit lost in our industry as well, trying to deliver good lighting, good quality lighting, natural, connected lighting, net zero, and we actually lose sight of this question when we're actually delivering and designing spaces. So I'm going to touch on 3 topics today, which generates outcomes towards that purpose. Firstly, we're in a transition phase to net zero. I said in the last Lighting Police discussion that it was the 10-year anniversary of the Paris Climate Agreement, and now it's the 11-year anniversary, and now we're transitioning towards that 2050 net zero goal, and how we're supposed to do that is only becoming into light. Pardon the pun. But what we can't lose sight of is the balance between healthy, productive spaces versus a net zero goal. I think the purpose of a building shouldn't be net zero. The purpose of the building should not be energy saving. It should be healthy, productive spaces for education. Second topic I'll touch on is space utilization. So big thing for estates teams, like we've got University of Bath here, where this is now becoming a core part of modern estate strategy. knowing how the spaces are being used. And if you think about it, how do you know if your estate strategy is working if you don't know how your spaces are being used? Lastly, the underestimated saving potential of people's behavior and just optimizing what you already have. There's a program by the UK government called Pathfinder. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but it's a program set to accelerate net zero, and there are some really good findings about that, and I'll touch on that in one of my slides. But before we dive in, a little bit about myself and Helvar. I've been with Helvar 13 years, been with in the lighting industry since I left uni. Helvar is a family-owned Finnish company, so the land of the happiest people in the world. That's who I work with, and it's kind of happy is relative, right? Because they get 4 hours of sunlight in the winter, so anything is happy for them. No Finnish people in the audience, right? So if I get a Finnish asset manager, I'm really done for today. We've been around for 105 years. So we celebrated our 100th anniversary during COVID. We had a virtual Teams party. It was awesome. All right, so I'm going to be going into using Bath Uni as an example because we've got a really good relationship with Bath. Got 3 guys. I think I'll count you as well, Mike. So you're ex-Bath, you're Bristol now. You've crossed the border. So we've got Ben, James, and Mike. They're representing Bath today, and we've got a really kind of good relationship with them. A little bit about Bath. They're ranked number 10 in the UK universities, 150 globally. And then top 100 sustainable universities. I think they're actually top 60 now. And they didn't get there just by buying LEDs. They invested in a long-term estate strategy, which they rolled out site-wide. So quite rare, but it's getting increasingly more relevant and being asked for more. They've committed to scope 1 and 2 for net zero by 2030 and scope 3 by 2040. So we believe, I think this is unconfirmed, but it's the largest DALI lighting control installation in the education sector. I had a number of 38,000 DALI devices, but James corrected me and he said it's 50,000. And then there's over 600 DALI controllers there. And we're just renovating it now. So I think the initial installation was over 15 years ago, and now it's time for a renovation. And the great thing about using a protocol like DALI is you can actually leave most of the infrastructure there and just replace the controllers, the lights, and the hardware without touching most of the infrastructure, which puts a massive benefit for return on investment. This is the School of Management. I think it's the flagship, right? It's the crown jewel of the university estate, and it's the one of the most modern buildings, 7 stories, 2 basement levels, and what they've done is they've got a massive atrium here. You can see lots of natural daylight coming in, and we're using control strategies like daylight harvesting, so you're not overlighting the space. But very clever in the estate strategy, they've kind of consolidated a lot of the office spaces that was dotted around the campus into one central hub. So they're kind of managing their estate and their spaces a lot more smart than they used to be. And you've got louvers outside as well to minimize the thermal gain so it doesn't get too hot. And we're also talking about looking at adding environmental sensors into the lighting control system to monitor air quality and thermal comfort and so on. And Bath has a massive complex estate. So one of their biggest challenges is to stay on top of, 113 buildings, 300 million square meters of space, and actually understanding how those buildings are working day to day, I think is a really underestimated challenge for the team. The principle is that if you know you want to know how your spaces are working, so you know your estate strategy is working. And this is where data such as like occupancy data comes really useful. We're getting this from the lighting control systems, and you can see how spaces are actually really used, and then adapt your control strategy or control philosophy to match the actual use case for that building. So it's constantly adapting, evolving to how the space is actually supposed to be used, not how it was designed or intended 3 years ago, 5 years ago. My second point is, my last point is this underestimated energy saving potential for controls and optimization. As I mentioned, this Pathfinder project, they did a survey, 50 schools in the UK, and they found that 40% of their total energy was being used to heat empty spaces. So just by adjusting that, a huge kind of saving of consumption was had. But on top of that, they found that 17% of energy was saved just by telling people to do different things and to change, adapt how their current solution was set up. So that's optimization. So the 12 out of that 17%, 12% was optimization, 5% was behavior change. And the 12% comes from things like adjusting sensor timeouts, adjusting set points, schedules. And the behavior change was interesting. The program recruited what they called like lighting detectives or energy detectives, and these included the students and the staff, and they would walk around the estate, the schools and buildings. They go actually physically turn stuff off and then report back what was a good strategy and a bad strategy, and evolve that. So that was a kind of really nice feedback from that program. So summary, to achieve the optimization goals and the other goals for programs such as Pathfinder, then you need a solution that's, one, providing the right data, two, understanding the value of that data, and then three, delivering an educational space that's fit for its purpose. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Thet.